Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a 6-month update. I'm sorry, oh my gosh, I'm getting way ahead of myself. 5-month update on Adeline. She is 5 months old today actually. So happy 5 months to Adeline. I haven't done a update with her since she was 6 weeks old. And that is totally my bad. I don't know where these past like 4 months have gone, or 3.5 months have gone. I feel awful. I really want to do monthly updates for her like I did for Skyla. But for some reason the time slips away from me so much quicker this time around than it did with Skyla. I just feel like I blink and then she's a month older. It's really sad actually. But I made a list in my phone of all the things that have been going on that I wanted to share with you guys. So let's just jump right in. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and make sure your bell notification is on so you will be notified every time I upload a video. My next video that's going up is a Las Vegas clothing haul, and that's going up on Wednesday, so I'm really excited to share that with you guys. So let's jump into Adeline's update. She was 6 weeks old, like I said at her last update, and so her next appointment after that was her 2-month-old appointment, and she was 15 pounds and 25 inches. At that point, I had not even been supplementing with any sort of formula. I didn't start introducing formula and it wasn't even really for supplementation. I'll get into that later, but I introduced that around 3 months. So at 2 months, she was exclusively breastfed and 15 pounds and 25 inches, which is amazing. I was so proud when we got that report back from the doctor, and everything was going great. She got all of her vaccinations and she did great with it. She also had cradle cap around that time, and I ended up using coconut oil. At first she said use hydrocortisone cream, but I didn't continue with that just because I got a few comments saying that it could be harmful and it scared me. So I just started using coconut oil and kind of brushing it through with the toothbrush, and it went away. And so that was her 2-month appointment up until around Valentine's Day. Yes. Do you want to play with Sophie? You want to bite on Sophie? You want to lay down? Up until about Valentine's Day, I was really like insecure about going out in public with the girls on my own, like to the grocery store, to the mall, anywhere with 2 girls, especially at the park. Oh my gosh, because Skyla would run around and play on her own, and I wouldn't be able to like catch her if she was gonna fall off the playground or whatever, because I had Adeline attached to me. And so I was really stressed out with having 2 little babies up until around Valentine's Day, which she was about December, January, February. So she was about 3 months old at that point. That's when I really started feeling confident, was about when she was about 3 months old. And at that point I started taking her out. What? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? I'm gonna feed her and then be right back. Oh my gosh, we've got lighting now. That's so much better. I'll turn it up. I couldn't find my plug. I just filmed my entire Vegas haul with no lighting because I couldn't find the plug, because we're in the middle of a move right now, and I couldn't find the cord to turn on my light. So I'm like, okay, I'll just film with natural light, and I think that the lighting is bad. So whoops, but we've got lighting. Nick just brought my cord in, so we are good to go. Adeline just got fed, so we should be good for a minute. Oh yeah, when I started to get comfortable with taking them both out at the same time. She was about 3 months old, and ever since then I've felt completely fine with taking them both out with me in public to do pretty much anything. We now have a big backyard for Skyla to play in, so I don't really feel like I need to go out to the park unless I want to take Skyla to like interact with other kids, and I will need to do that. But it's easy here because Skyla can play around in the backyard, and I can have Adeline with me and like not be worrying about Skyla either A, running away, or B, falling off of something at the playground and me not being able to catch her, because I've also got Adeline with me. On Valentine's Day, Nick was out of town, so I ended up taking the girls with Crystal, and we went to the aquarium, and we went to Build-A-Bear, and then we stayed out at the Ritz-Carlton. We had a girls' Galentine's Day with these 2 girls, and I stayed with them overnight by myself at the Ritz, and it was a really fun like bonding thing for me and the girls, and we had a lot of fun. So after that is when I started feeling totally confident going out with them. We also have taken Adeline with us to Disney on Ice, and I took her with us to a Disney live show, and she did so great. We brought the car seat with us and bought an extra seat so that I could put her in the car seat next to us. That way she could nap if she wanted to, and I would have my hands free to, you know, interact with Skyla. And it was a good idea to bring the car seat, although I know it sucks like lugging that around with you, because Skyla used to be super squirmy and like wouldn't sit in my lap for things like that. So I thought that Adeline would be the same way and not want to sit in my lap and squirm around. But in reality, I totally could have brought her and held her in my lap the whole time and she would have been totally fine. I was just preparing for the worst, and I knew that she was comfortable in her car seat, and I knew that it would make things manageable, especially at Disney Live. I went with my friend Rochelle and her daughter, so I didn't have Nick with me to be an extra pair of hands with Skyla. So I knew I would need my hands free with Skyla, so I brought Adeline in the car seat so that whenever I needed to get up and do things for Skyla, make sure she wasn't gonna run away from the seats and all that, because Skyla, you guys know, she is wild and fearless and she will run. It made it easier to have Adeline in the car seat. When I went to Frozen on Ice with Skyla, my mom watched Adeline, and that was a nightmare because Adeline, I guess, didn't want to stay with my mom, and my mom said that she cried the whole time and just like was so unhappy, and just like my mom said that it was just really, really hard. I guess Adeline was feeling separation anxiety, and my mom was literally texting me throughout the whole Frozen on Ice event, and I didn't really enjoy it because I was so worried about Adeline, and I was so worried that she was sick or something. But of course, right when I got home, she was totally fine and she was just having separation anxiety. Skyla never had that with me. Skyla was never attached to me, I feel like, ever. She never wanted to snuggle, cuddle. She just wasn't like that. She was independent from day one, and Adeline is totally opposite. So I would be lying if I said I wasn't pretty worried about my Vegas trip, because I just don't know how she's gonna deal with being separated from me for a couple nights. And it's just a totally new ball game with Adeline than it was with Skyla. Adeline took her first plane trip when we went to Texas to look at houses, and she did so well. Skyla on airplanes, like, I dreaded taking Skyla on airplanes because she would never sit still. And she hated them. She would cry the whole time because of her ears. Skyla's got bad ears. That's not her fault. But Adeline is the best traveler on the plane. She was wonderful. I don't really have anything else to say about it, but that was her first plane trip, was when we came to look at houses in Texas, the one we're in now. But she's been doing so good with all this travel. You know, you would think that she would just be so fussy and so annoyed with all the car travel and being in new places, but she's adapted everywhere that we've gone, and she's just been totally fine and unfazed by all of it. Other than waking up in the night. Before all of this traveling happened, she was sleeping through the night, and then ever since we've been traveling to all of these different places, she stopped sleeping through the night, and she's still now waking up once or twice in the night to feed, because she is mostly breastfed. She is getting some formula, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but she's mostly breastfed, so she doesn't stay full for that long. Her 4-month checkup was when we were in Colorado. I saw one of my friend's pediatricians. And she was 18 pounds and 26 inches, and she was over the 98th percentile in both. So you're a big baby. She's definitely a big baby for a 5-month-old. Okay, so now I will tell you guys about when we started to give her some formula. So we initially, before this Vegas trip was planned, the biggest thing was like a last minute deal, but before the Vegas trip was planned, Nick and I had planned a trip to my friend's wedding. One of my best friends was getting married in Roatan, and we planned a weekend trip to go and be there for her wedding, because this woman has been there for me through literally every single big event in my life. She's been there for, and so we had to go to it. It was, you know, it wasn't even a question. When we got the invitation, I knew that we had to go, and not we had to go, we wanted to go. We are so excited to go. And so at that point, I started pumping every single morning. I was pumping milk to store up for this trip, and I was making up this huge stash. So around that same time, I had hired a nanny to watch the girls for a couple hours a week to help so that I could edit vlogs and get any errands done that I needed to do on my own without having to take them with me. And we also had just put our house on the market, and so the nanny was helping so that I could get stuff packed up and keep the house show ready, because I had to keep the house ready to show at all times for showings when we were showing our house. So the nanny really helped me be able to get all of that stuff done with both of them, because it was damn near impossible to edit, keep the house show ready, and look after 2 babies. She was a godsend. So what I was doing was, when she would watch Adeline, she was first just watching Skyla, but then she started to watch Adeline. And so when she was watching Adeline, I told her to just give Adeline Alimentum, because I wanted to build up my formula stash, my breast milk stash in the freezer for when we were gone, because when we were gone, I wanted her to be able to get mostly breast milk. Hopefully, I was hoping that I would have enough breast milk stored up so that she could only have breast milk. But I wanted her, if they had to give formula, I wanted her to at least have some breast milk and some formula every day. And so since my nanny was only helping for a couple hours, during those hours I was like, okay, when you're watching her, you can give her Alimentum, and then for the rest of the day she'll be breastfed. And that's when we started on the formula. And I want to say that was around when she was about 3 months old, I think. So that's how the formula got introduced. And so then on Saturdays, you guys know that I go and get my nails done or run my errands. So on those days, I would also tell Nick, use the formula, don't dip into my stash, because I want to build up that stash. And so then it started being like, okay, well, when we would go out to dinner, sometimes I would bring the formula with us. And she slowly started getting more and more formula, because I do breastfeed in public and I have nothing against it. But like, if we're at a restaurant, sometimes I don't feel like breastfeeding, and it's easy to bring the formula. And then when we were in Colorado, my mom helped a lot with them. And so she was getting a lot of formula when we were in Colorado. One, because I was going out a lot with friends and stuff, and we would be, you know, at lunch or dinner or whatever, and or my mom would be watching her when I took Skyla to go do Frozen. So she started getting, I would say when we were in Colorado, she was probably half on Alimentum and half on breast milk. Now that we've gotten to our house here, she's pretty much back fully on the boob. Look at, I love it. I think it's so cute when she holds her feet. She's fully on the boob again now that we're in Texas and we're back into a routine. But then she does get formula when we go out, or like when I go out, like when I went to get my hair done or my nails done, Nick will give her the Alimentum. But she's mostly breastfed. Let me tell you what happened to that stash of milk that I built up. So when we moved, we had packed everything up into the U-Haul, and then we were gonna go right before the closing, and we were gonna pick up my breast milk before the closing, because we moved directly after we closed on our last house. So I left that breast milk in the freezer, and we packed up the U-Haul and we left, not remembering to get the breast milk out of the freezer in our house. But wait, Nick sent me a text. I didn't take the girls to the closing. Nick did the closing on his own. And I was over at Crystal's house with the girls, and Nick sends me a text and he's like, hey, we forgot the breast milk. You're gonna have to go drive and get the breast milk so that we can bring it with us. We had a 2-hour car trip ahead of us that we were gonna need to keep that breast milk good for. So I went back and got the breast milk. We had a Yeti, which you can bring dry ice in a Yeti. So I went and bought dry ice, tons of dry ice, packed the dry ice in the Yeti, kept the breast milk cold, and when you use dry ice, like, it will keep things cold for at least a day. So we kept checking the milk, and it was rock solid. The whole trip there, it was rock solid. So we get in, when we get to Colorado, I'm sorry, we did not check the breast milk when we got to Colorado, because we got to Colorado to my mom's house, I want to say, you guys would remember from the vlog, but was it like, it was late, like maybe around midnight or something. I mean, it was late, but when we got there, we were tired. We wanted to just go to bed. So we got there, I didn't think about the breast milk, Nick didn't think about the breast milk, it's completely slipped our minds. We went to bed without bringing, we didn't unpack the U-Haul, we didn't unpack the car, we only unpacked like what we would need immediately to go to sleep, because we were so tired when we got there. I just needed to get in the shower, and that's all I could think about was showering. So the breast milk stayed out all overnight in the U-Haul in the Yeti, completely overnight. And then throughout that whole next day, when we were like starting to unload stuff, Nick moved the Yeti into the garage, and I think that he had the intentions of moving the milk into their deep freezer, but forgot, and then I didn't even think. I don't know, you would think that someone who's pumped up this stash for, I don't know how long I had been pumping up a stash, but it seemed like a lifetime, would think, hey, let's move the breast milk into the deep freeze. But in my head, I'm like, oh, Nick probably did it, and then I didn't ask. And then by the time that I was like, hey, did you ever move the breast milk into the deep freezer? He was like, no, I forgot. So I go out to check the milk, and it's all thawed, and I didn't know how long it had been thawed. So I had to throw it away because I was afraid that if it had been thawed for over 5 hours or whatever, it's no longer good. So I threw out a whole Yeti cooler full of breast milk. So when we're gone on our trip, when I'm gone in Vegas, she'll be all on formula. And because I have not picked back up pumping again. After that, I was just so discouraged and upset. I didn't start pumping again. I haven't even unpacked my pump. So when I'm gone in Vegas, she'll be on formula Alimentum because she has a milk protein allergy. And then when we're on our trip in Roatan, anytime that we're gone, she'll be on formula. So regarding Adeline's nutrition, she's fully on breast milk except when we're gone or out in public, then she's on formula. Just this week, I'm not gonna be introducing food with like all solids to Adeline until she's 6 months. But with Skyla, we introduced him at 4 months because my pediatrician with Skyla said to introduce solids at 4 months. So I did. And I didn't know that some people waited until 6 months. So this time I'm waiting until 6 months to introduce all solids to Adeline, other than frozen fruit in a pouch, because she's already teething. Her face will get bright red. She'll be biting things and getting really frustrated and upset, and I can tell she's teething. She's always biting everything. And so I put some frozen bananas into a pouch and gave her those the other day, and she was completely obsessed, of course, because it's sugar and, you know, they love it. So with the exception of frozen fruit in the mesh pouches, she's not getting solids for another month. She is in a size 6 months or 6 to 9 month clothing size. This sleeper that she's in right now is size 6 months. It was Skyla's. And she's in a size 4 diaper, and even those are tight. She is in, we're in the jumperoo by now. I didn't put her in the jumperoo until we got to Texas, so she probably could have been in it a little bit sooner, but she's loving the jumperoo and thriving in her jumperoo. She has so much fun in it. And she's also getting into toys now. So like she loves Sophie, and any toys that she can, that like jingle, crinkle, rattle, she'll put in her mouth, but Sophie is her #1 right now. Do you love Sophie? You do. And she's got her eyes, I think they're turning green to me. They're darker. I don't think they're gonna be blue, but I do think that they're gonna be green. So, oh, at about 4.5 months, she started to roll over, so she can roll over now back to belly. I haven't seen her roll belly to back though. So, but I could be wrong. That might be wrong. Don't quote me on that, but I know she can at least roll back to belly, and she can sit up for just a couple seconds unassisted. We'll try it here in a minute and see how long she can do it. But she is able to sit, and she has like a couple of like a floor seat that she sits in and things like that that help her sit. I haven't put her in the bumbo yet just because we haven't unpacked it. And then, so I was told that by about 6 months they could outgrow their milk protein allergy. So I started to try and incorporate some more things into my diet with dairy in them, and some things are fine. Like if I eat Chick-fil-A, I know that Chick-fil-A uses dairy in their food. She does not react to it. But some things that have more dairy in it than others, she will get fussy. Even during her feed, sometimes she will be fussy feeding. She'll push away and be frustrated during the feed, and I know, or I am pretty sure that it's because when I consume dairy, it irritates her. She'll get a rash around her face, on her chest, and the diaper area will be rashy. Anytime I consume like too much dairy, she reacts to it. She'll have diarrhea, the mucousy poo, and she'll be fussy and very gassy. But she's honestly, Adeline is just a gassy baby in general, but I can tell when I've had too much dairy, so I completely avoid cheese and I completely avoid milk. But some things have enough dairy in it to irritate her. So I try to avoid it at all costs, but I've been told to try and incorporate more and more dairy in your diet because it's something that a lot of babies will grow out of. So hopefully that's true. Let me know your experience with that in the comments, like how has your baby with a milk protein allergy, did they grow out of it and when, and how did you go about introducing dairy back into your diet if you were breastfeeding? So let's see if we can sit up. I'll show you guys her because she still has this bald spot on the back of her head, but I can tell that it's starting to grow in. But yeah, she's got that. A lot of babies get that just because they're on their backs a lot, and it's totally fine. It's not like anything to be alarmed about. But let's look up close at our sweet Adeline. Can you look at the camera and say hello? Say hello. Guys, I'm so sad that I don't have like a month-to-month update with her to compare her growth to. It makes me very sad and like disappointed in myself. Mommy's disappointed, and I'm sorry, Adeline, when you're watching this in the future. There's not an excuse, and I'm so sorry that I don't have monthly updates for you like I did with your sister, but I will start doing it, I promise.
Are you eating?
No. Okay, let's count. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, crush! Okay, do you want to show them how you can roll over? Let's roll from back to belly. Okay, can you roll over from back to belly? Roll over, come here. Come here. Can you roll to mama? Roll to mama. Where's Sophie? Where's Sophie? Is she right here? Where's Sophie? Where's mama? Uh-oh, mama's gonna go in here. Good job! Good job, honey! I think it's just back to belly that she can do so far. Bless you! So hopefully, guys, I'll be back for her 6-month update. I really want to do these monthly, like I said. Good job pushing up. You're so strong, honey. I really want to do these monthly. Oh, I am giving her a vitamin D supplement since she's the majority breastfed. She does get a vitamin D supplement, but that's all she's taking. So hopefully I'll see you guys in a month from now for her 6-month update. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button and make sure your bell notification is turned on. And I will see you guys in my next video. By the way, she is still sleeping in a bassinet in our room, and we're not transitioning her up to the crib in her own room until she is 6 months old. So she'll be in our room for another month, and we're not gonna start sleep training for another month either. We're gonna do the same thing we did with Skyla and start sleep training at 6 months old. So for now, she's in our room and still very, very attached to mommy. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Don't know how much you mean to me, baby.